Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty RoundTable Radio Talk Show.
All right, back with you live, ladies and gentlemen. Ice everywhere. Donald goes crazy. Streaming services are interesting because they're taking over. The average net worth of Americans, they claim, is quite interesting. Not to mention the Supreme Court will review the constitutionality of geofence data. And Elon Musk donates $10 million. We'll tell you to who in a second. Happy to have you along, my fellow Americans. I'm Sam Bushman. Hard-hitting news the networks refuse to use starts now. James Edwards with me, well-known political talk show host in his own right. He does a broadcast every Saturday night live or on demand. You can find his broadcast at thepoliticalcesspool.org. James, welcome back, sir. Praying for the day you get on video, my friend.
It's coming, Sam. I tell you, it's a slow roll down here, but I say it's coming. It's coming. If we make it through this snowpocalypse, it is going to snow in the South, and I have never seen so much hysteria. I mean, it's like what you would get in coastal Florida with a Category 5 hurricane bearing down times 10. It's supposed to snow. There's going to be some ice, and every weatherman is just telling people this is going to be the storm of the century. This is it. This is going to cause weeks of power outages, widespread destruction. We'll see. I mean, there is supposed to be something moving in here this weekend, and, even if it flurries in the South, it'll shut down schools and government offices for about a week. So if we actually get some accumulation.
Actually a blessing in disguise right there, baby. I'll tell you right
that's
now.
1 week.
Now, the headlines
for
for the mainstream press are saying this. Potentially catastrophic ice storm threatens widespread power outages across the South. Forecasters are warning that a dangerous winter storm will be expected to sweep from Texas to the Carolinas late this week and into the weekend, bringing a half an inch or possibly even up to an inch of ice. They claim that will be catastrophic. Meteorologists caution that as little as a half an inch could down trees and power lines and triggering widespread power outages. They say in hazardous travel conditions, with temperatures slow to rise, ice accumulation could linger on roads and sidewalks for days. While the exact track of the storm remains uncertain, the National Weather Service says large portions of the South could experience a severe and potentially catastrophic ice event. Do you think it's going to be as bad as they say, James? My prediction is it won't be pleasant, but it won't be as bad as they claim either.
Well, we've talked about this many times before, and that is the sensationalism of the media, and that includes the weather people. I mean, it's all revenue-driven and clickbait-driven and disasters. I mean, there's nothing like a train wreck to get a click, right? And so I don't know. I mean, I definitely don't. It's definitely going to be something. There is this atmospheric river, they say, coming up from the south that's going to cause some precipitation, snow and ice. And then immediately after that happens, there's this Arctic blast coming down that's going to freeze everything. So, I mean, it doesn't take much to shut down the South, but it'd probably just be another weekend for you in Utah. But
well, why don't you just fly out to Utah and hang out with us and miss the storm, man? Come on.
Well, I mean, this would, like I said, this is probably another day for you. I kind of like it, though. I mean, for us, it's a novelty. So you get about one. The kids are only at the house for so long, and you only get about one snow that sticks every year, and where you can go out and have a snowball fight and build a snowman or do some sledding. So for us, I mean, we homeschool, all that. So for us, this is like a big time vacation. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll see if it actually, shuts down civilization for a month, but we'll find out before this weekend.
I know this, the weather's getting worse, and many have a lot of different discussions about why and how and all that kind of stuff. It's very serious in many ways because the South isn't really prepared for it. What I don't understand is why don't they prepare a little bit better for these kind of things?
Well, I mean, again, that would be the allocation of resources for something that is very rare. I mean, you do
all
see
you got to do is take the
the
money for the illegals and put it into the make sure the weather's good, and you're okay.
well, they
All
you
you
do
got to do
see
is take
the
the money where we murder babies and use that to take care of the weather, and we're okay.
well, I mean, you're onto something there, my friend. I mean, you do see anytime there's supposed to be a snow, even a little, like I said, even a little to shut things down. They'll start closing schools on a cloudy day if it gets below 32. I mean, that's no joke.
That's a blessing.
And they'll stay closed.
How do they do that
for,
every day?
Yeah, it's just one less day for indoctrination. But you'll see the trucks out salting the roads and things like that. But again, I mean, it only snows in Memphis.
Johnny
it
might
snows.
actually
I
have
mean,
to
you
be a
might get
boy
some
for
flurries.
a day. Could you imagine that, James?
In Memphis, you'll get some flurries. You definitely get cold days below freezing. That's not unusual. But a big snow like this that sticks more than an inch, something you can play in about once a year. So you just don't have a lot of it because you don't need it very often.
All right, I got 2 headlines for Trump's tariffs strategy. I want to get your take on them. Here they are. Ready? Trump's tariff strategy, economic policy, or political weapon? Next headline, economic shock tool. Trump deploys tariffs as a weapon. What do you say, James?
Well, again, generally speaking, I'm all for tariffs. I think if properly executed, now, again, you're going to have a lot of upheaval if you start to implement tariffs because we got off of that. And for so many years, we gutted American industry and manufacturing. So to go back on a tariff-based thing when you aren't industrialized anymore, I mean, we don't have a lot of big-time plants. It's going to be rocky at first, but in theory, it is a good idea. And but he has been sort of all over the place, on again, off again, and then sometimes he threatens tariffs for other reasons as a ploy. I mean, although tangentially related, but a little bit of an aside, I did see where he said he's going to circumvent Congress and send everybody $2,000 checks as a result of the revenue. The additional revenue that has been generated by the tariffs in the last year. And I could sure use the scratch. So we'll see if that is $2,000 for every middle-class family, which middle class now goes up to like $1 million a year.
The question is, does he have authority to do
that? Who's to? I mean, look at what's going. I'll tell you this. We talk. This is this is a perpetual conversation that you and I have about authority and rule of law. The Democrats are giving a master class in Virginia on how to wield power. You had this thing, and this is related to your point. You had this thing last year, of course, with the redistricting. And Indiana said, they were adorable. The Indiana Republicans, so adorable. They said, we're not going to redistrict here and squeeze out more Republican-leaning districts because, we want to be fair. And they actually made a deal with the Democratic Party of Virginia. And the Democrats said, you know what, if we retake control, we're not going to do that either. And now they've gone in and they are getting ready. They're going to add like 8 or 10 more seats. Baby. See, this is what I'm saying. So does Trump have the authority? My God, Sam, I mean, when you're at a battle for survival and for the continuance of Western civilization on this continent. I mean, international law, what is that? I mean, I think conservatives and good-hearted, good-natured people get way too concerned about, the feelings of other people. They are not going to abide by the law. And when you're in a street fight like that, when you're in a gutter fight with knives and brass knuckles, I mean, we got to survive. So I'm all for suspension of it all, frankly, at this point. I know what you're going to say, well, but they're doing it anyway. And us doing it just makes us look like patsies. Us saying we got to follow the law, we got to play
fair. Does Donald have authority to send everybody $2,000, number one? And number two,
probably no. I would say no.
Inflation?
Well, I mean, if it's okay, again, now it's a little bit different. I would say in theory and practice, and this is all theoretical.
Make inflation worse, though?
Well, I mean, all right, so it made inflation worse with the COVID thing because that was pure taxpayer, driven funds and, pumped into the economy and there wasn't anything real behind it. Now, if this is just pure profit off tariffs, I mean, you could peel that off and I don't know.
Who,
I mean, I'm not an economist.
Who pays the tariffs?
I know what you're saying. Yeah. I know what you're saying. Because, I mean, technically the other countries pay the tariffs, but then they raise prices. And so, yeah, that's a whole other conversation. But.
Well, and
I don't think anybody's really going to be getting checks.
they just simply account for the tariffs in their prices. So if something costs $100,
Exactly.
and we
Yeah.
put 10% tariffs on it, then the price becomes $110, and I just paid tariffs. And now they're going to send me back $2,000. And it's kind of like Kirk Crosby used to say with the minimum wage. You know, if they would give me $100,000, it would really help. $2,000 ain't going to do me any good hardly at all. You know, come on.
Well,
give me a
it
million.
would buy
Make
groceries.
me a millionaire if we're going to do that. If we're going to throw all morality aside, then I need to be a millionaire. Don't you think, James?
Hey.
But if anybody
Sam,
deserves it, it's me. You know?
I got something for you. Listen, I mean, you know, I got
We'll
something
talk
for you
about it
after
on
the
other
break.
side. You gotta
Well,
give me a teaser.
the
Come on
Trump
now.
administration, is talking about throwing 6 figures to individuals. Just maybe not the
we'll
ones you
talk about
think.
it in
This has
seconds.
been in
You're
the news.
watching Liberty Roundtable Live with James Edwards. Millionaire James Edwards. I don't even know why I want to be a millionaire. I think it needs to be a billionaire, you know? Come on, you already got
This
people
is like-
bordering on trillionaires. At least I could be as a billionaire. Come on.
You know, I'm laughing, Sam. I'm laughing for 2 reasons. Number one, what you said. Number 2, I just got. This is from the official weather service here in Memphis. This is not a parody. It says we're going to get, now the forecast says we're going to get 27 inches of snow. That'd be more snow than we've gotten in 100 years. I don't even know
Wait
what's
a minute.
going
Hold on.
man. I don't
Have you
even
got
know.
27 inches of snow in Tennessee 100 years ago or whatever? Have you ever received 27 inches?
No, I'm saying 27 inches total for the last 100 years combined.
Oh.
27 inches. I mean, I'd say that'd be like 100 years worth of snow for us. I don't know. So, I mean, if I get 27 inches of snow, I mean, my house would be, an igloo. It'd be under. This is crazy. So this is what I'm talking about. Who the hell knows what's real anymore, except for here on Liberty Roundtable. And folks, I am going to get video. I promise you that. I mean, what am I even doing here? But we got to get video. So
I'm going to look this up. In Tennessee, what's the amount of snow they've had the most in a given year? I mean, what is that number? Because 27 inches of snow, the 27 inches of snow, even Utah will struggle with that if it came all at once.
Well,
So,
look now,
I mean,
East Tennessee,
you know.
East, it's a little different. East Tennessee does have mountains. You get over into the Appalachians, and they have some pretty high elevations. But in Memphis, which is, we're in a delta, it's a totally different geography. The snowfall here is a lot different than the east. But even in the eastern part of the state, you're not going to get.
All right, you ready for
3
this?
feet of snow in
Nashville,
one
Tennessee. 38.7 inches in Nashville, which occurred 1960.
38 inches.
That's the
I mean,
highest.
Nashville is.
That's the highest annual snowfall officially recorded at Nashville's weather station. Now, understand that's a whole year, though, James.
Yeah, that's a whole year. And Nashville is, a couple hundred feet elevated from Memphis. I mean, that does matter.
Jackson,
and,
Tennessee.
But yeah, and that's for a year. Yeah,
Jackson,
Jackson's
Tennessee.
about like Memphis.
22.
That's still a lot. For a
1985.
year, that's a lot.
That's a
That's a
whole
long time
year,
ago.
though. These people are talking about one storm, 27 inches. You guys will melt down if that. Well, you won't be melting down.
there'd be
There'll be no melting at
it'll
all.
be. Well, listen. This is the thing about it too. So it's supposed to dump whatever. I've heard anything from 6 inches now to 8 feet, and it's supposed to get down to 4 degrees after the storm. So it's just going to all encase. Whatever snow comes is just going to encase into ice. So we'll see. I mean, this may be the last time we ever talk, actually. So I don't know what's going to happen to me here, but. Anyway, we got to get back to. Hey, speaking of cold weather and everything,
when you flee for safety, let me know. We got a place for you, bro.
Yeah, I got to go to Utah to get
All right,
away
you
from
ready?
the
You
snow
ready?
here in Memphis.
You ready for Memphis?
Yeah, hit me.
Most snow in one calendar year from Memphis, Tennessee. One calendar year, 23.8 inches, happened in 1968, buddy. It's the
That's before
highest
I was
annual
alive.
total unofficial records based on the Memphis airport.
Well, somehow Memphis survived that year. I mean, there was still a city there in 1969 and on through to
That's
today.
right.
But I don't know. These weather forecast, these weather guys, you know how excited they get when an
Guess
actual
how much
storm
it is
comes
on the
in,
average,
they get
though,
some attention.
James?
Less than an
Do you know what
inch.
the average is
Gotta be.
normally every year? The
I
average,
don't, but
what
I'm
it
gonna.
is?
I'm guessing less than an inch.
3.
3 inches.
3 inches per year on the average.
Huh. Well, yeah. I mean, we get one snow that sticks every year, pretty much. But
All right, you ready for this, though? They say they had 18 inches in a major storm in the March 1892 event. They had
Yeah, I've read about that
18
one.
inches in one big storm. So that's, so they're predicting the worst by far, if that's the case.
I'm
Anyway, there
looking
you
at it
have
right now.
I find that
But
fascinating.
these
So
weather
there you go.
guys, they love attention.
When they do
Yeah.
that, though, they lose credibility big time. Now, if they're really right, fine. But I find half the time the weather people just aren't accurate at all, man. I
Well,
went to a
that's the
concert and they
thing.
said it was going to be nice and beautiful, and next thing you know, it's raining. They're about to cancel the concert. What the heck's going on? Kind of thing.
This is the thing. It's a shame that media has gotten so driven by, as I was saying at the top of the show, and I know we got to get back on to hard news here, but, this is pretty interesting news. This storm is going to be something. Especially down here, this is something. I don't know if it's going to be as bad as they say, but everything's so revenue driven and commercialized. If you're tuned into the Weather Channel, you're going to see those sponsors commercials and the more stuff like this. I'm glued to it now because of all this. I'm clicking for the updates. I'm part of it, I guess. But
Yes, you are, buddy.
I don't trust the weather anyway. I don't trust the weather because of it. We'll find out. I guess we'll find
So
out. Maybe I can come back on Monday. Give me 5 minutes on the Monday show. I'll tell you what happened.
All right. So
we'll get to the bottom of this.
let me ask you this, though. Do you think it's going to be the apocalypse? Do you think that the chupacabra is going to come and, the Loch Ness Monster is going to come out of the lake and all the you're going to have, what are those people called? The kind of drone people. What are those called?
I don't know.
Oh man, what's it called? Where the drone anyway, I'll think of it. But is that all going to happen?
Well, I famous last words, because I'm such a skeptic. I'm going to say it's going to snow and it's going to be nice and pretty
rowdy.
and white outside. Yeah, probably a little bit more than we're used to, but I don't know. This civilization ending storm, we'll find out. We'll find out. Like I said, work me in for 5 on Monday, and I'll tell you how it played out, because it's all going to be over by then. Now, it's supposed to be 4 degrees on Monday, so whatever snow and ice comes this weekend, it'll be there to stay for a while at that temperature. But
at what temperature?
It's going to refreeze and freeze. 4 is the low on Monday.
4 degrees. Wow.
Degrees
you guys need to
Fahrenheit.
come to Utah. You know what? It's 45 degrees outside and beautiful for me.
What in the world is that? We're down here
man.
in the Sun Belt, and
There you
all
go.
right. Well, anyway,
There you have it. All right, here's the next headline. Don does Davos.
Well, wait. We got to get back very quickly to the tariff thing. I was just going to say, we were talking about, and I did want to talk about that because his plane got turned
Yes,
around.
All right, tariffs first, Davos second.
Well, we were asking about, the $2,000 checks and all of that, and if that was going to happen, and why not just, make us millionaires while you're at it. You almost have to be now to get by and to afford fast food. But they have an offer on the table, according to news reports. And again, take that with your grain of salt. But apparently there's a deal on the table to buy Greenland for $700 billion. Okay? $700 billion. And to boot, each resident of Greenland gets $100,000 to bring the total cost of the proposed real estate purchase to $7.6 billion. So every Greenlander under this proposal that has been mentioned by the establishment press as coming from the Trump administration, $100,000 a head if you're a Greenlander, and they agree to sell to the United States. But now,
You need
that
to do,
is
you need to move
that's
to
a pretty good
Greenland
money.
real quick, James.
And vote for it. Yeah, right. And then I could come back, maybe. I don't know. I think they're probably
No,
going to
because
be some
Tennessee will be
stipulation
gone,
against
so
it.
you won't come back. Greenland will turn into Greenland.
I got to go to Greenland to get away from the snow. But
I know, but Greenland will turn into Greenland. It'll actually be. Why do they call that place Greenland anyway? It's covered with
well,
ice.
I know. I actually know what that was about. So when
Yeah.
when the Vikings were originally exploring all of that, and they wanted people to resettle, they already had found Iceland, and nobody wanted to move there. So Greenland is actually more ice capped than Iceland, and but they named it Greenland to trick people into going. That's really what it was all about. That's it. So
there you have it. Well,
So 100 grand ahead. But now, listen, all of America was taken by either conquest or purchase, or acquired by either conquest or purchase would be a better term. So, I mean, the Louisiana Purchase. This isn't unprecedented. And Lincoln's Secretary of State in the 1860s very nearly acquired Greenland through purchase even then. And he did actually, this was, I think his name was Seward. And he actually did complete the purchase of Alaska at that very same time. So, the United States going for Greenland is not historically
I don't think it's unprecedented, and I don't have any problem with the point that we need to acquire Greenland for security. I think that's all very true. I think the Europeans and Denmark and everybody else should be able to understand that. Denmark couldn't defend Greenland in World War II days. Donald's right about that. So, the stage is set to make this happen. My problem is these Gestapo tactics. These, hey, we're going to just use tariffs as a weapon against you till you capitulate to us. We're going to do this by force. I think if you do it right and you offer the Greenland people some opportunity and you offer, Denmark something to take care of it appropriately and everything, I don't see anything wrong with acquiring Greenland. I just have a problem with the art of the deal guy, the way he's going about it. There's no art to the deal at all. There's you come along or we're going to wreck you, period, end of paragraph. And that's kind of the problem that Donald's got when he does these things. He's expanded presidential power big time, and that's a serious issue constitutionally speaking. But now Don does Davos. He goes to Davos. He tries to get there, has a problem with his plane, has to turn around. He gets there. He's all late. The World Economic Forum in Davos, I guess they say approximately 3,000 people from 130 countries will be in attendance for this thing. And they say Larry Fink of BlackRock, and this guy's not a good guy in my mind. I guess he's taken over as interim chair because Klaus Schwab, I guess he had a big old departure amid scandal. So we'll talk about that. Now, Trump wants to get rid of the UN. But there's a problem with whatever Donald wants to do. Whenever he wants to get rid of something, he creates something more powerful in his own image. So is it really get rid of the UN or replace the UN with Donald or DUN, right? Or TUN, Trump United Nations. Is that what we're talking about? We'll talk about it with James Edwards, thepoliticalcesspool.org in seconds. You're watching Liberty Roundtable Live. All right, James Edwards, well-known talk show host, author, political commentator, and more, thepoliticalcesspool.org. Check out his award-winning broadcast anytime you like at thepoliticalcesspool.org. Before we get to Don and Davos really quick, though, I just want to say that Donald Trump is literally gaslighting the American people and the people at Davos, okay? He's already there in Davos. He's already speaking. And here's what he said at the top of the hour news. Listen to this.
President Trump touted the U.S. economy while addressing the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland today. He said inflation in the U.S. has been defeated.
Economy is booming, growth is exploding, productivity is surging, investment is soaring, incomes are rising.
James, do you feel like you've just been gaslighted?
What I love about Trump is, I don't know if it's good.
If any of that is affecting your life that he just claimed. Any of it.
No, none of it.
All right.
I'm not.
Just want to make sure because what you're going to do is praise Trump because you love him, and that's fine. But it's flat out. Let me play this one more time. And think about your life, ladies and gentlemen. Think about the last year. Have things got better or worse or what? And think about what he's telling this global elite group of people. And then it makes it into the United States news. So he's not even domestically engaged. He's internationally whatever. And then he literally says this. Play it again, Liz.
Economy is booming, growth is exploding, productivity is surging, investment is soaring, incomes are rising.
Where the heck is that happening? Even the stock market's down, and my 401k is down as a result. I mean, in no way is anything he said there true, James.
All right. So, we have talked about
true.
that. I said that before it was our last show. We actually broadcast on New Year's Eve, if you'll recall. It was the last show of the year. And I said this is going to be a big a problem for the Republicans and Trump. The party in power always has, a hard time in the midterms. But this standard, the cost of living, you and I had a long discussion about real estate prices, how, up-and-comers, newly married people could not even afford to buy a home. No way. And of course, healthcare out of control. Normal families having to go to health share plans, Christian-funded health share plans because you can't afford, the government insurance. It is a big problem. Now he's totally, I don't know. I mean, maybe for him and his friends, things have gotten better, but for the middle and working class, and again, middle class, I don't even know what that means anymore. I heard like millionaires are middle class now. That was always rich to me.
Well,
but
and I don't know that I'm middle class when I hesitate to stop at a fast food restaurant because I can't afford it. I don't think I'm middle class anymore, right?
That is 100% true. It's $100 to go out to eat now at Chick-fil-A. For you, it's probably like $1,000 with all your kids and grandkids, but.
It's expensive, but no, you're right. It's out of control.
Well, I'll tell you what's out of control. It's I don't know if it's a negotiating tactic or if it's just Trump being Trump. And this is, again, the whole thing where he's saying how great it is. And now gas prices are down. I'll give him that. Eggs are like 90 cents. 90 cents now. Gas is I filled up the other day for $2 a gallon. That was lower than what it was 5 years ago. So. Some of the things that is accurate, but the overall standard of living versus inflation versus, real estate and healthcare, it's not good.
Think of the words he said, though. Think of what – I want to play this one more time. Think of the claims he's making here, and is it flat out pure gaslighting? Liz, see if you can cue that up. I'm giving you a little bit of time to get ready again. I apologize to keep going back to this. But he makes such outrageous, sweeping claims. If he said, hey – things are starting to look up. Inflation's not as bad as it once was. It's improving. Hey, you know what? There's, some prices are down. It's not as bad as it was. I get that and agree. Okay. Cause you can always pick out the exception and say, see, eggs are down, so we're good. Or, hey, gas is down, so we're good. But he makes the most sweeping claims you've ever heard in your life. Here it is.
Economy is booming. Growth is exploding. Productivity is surging. Investment is soaring. Incomes are rising.
Is your income rising, James?
No, it's not. And here's another
soaring?
thing.
It's not just productivity is improving. Productivity is soaring, sir. And
here's another thing to consider.
It's worse than the Lego movie.
You got to keep hustling. If you are strapped in, now you and I have a little upward mobility, Sam, because we're not salary capped. We can go out and make more money. We both have 3 and 4 different jobs.
Yeah, Sam Bushman
and we can raise money.
That'd be a good thing.
Well, no, that's the thing. But there are a lot of people who are salary capped in so much as, let's just say, they work a service industry job, or even if they are a salaried employee. No, if they're hard capped on what they can earn. Okay, great example right there. It is not. And a lot of people, you have to remember, a lot of people aren't like Trump. A lot of people don't have stocks. They don't have all these crazy investments. A lot of people have 401ks and savings and things like that, but they don't have, they don't have huge portfolios of investments. Most of the country just does not. And certainly the younger generation does not. So, when he's talking that language, that doesn't even apply to most people, but for everyone, you're definitely not having a standard of living where your dollar
even for a significant number. It isn't true.
Hey, well, you're 100%.
Unless you say everybody's a billionaire and all those billionaires count. But
Yeah, that's what I think. I think because you tend to, when you speak about the life you know and not the life you can't relate to. So he's just not relating to the average American.
And that's why he's speaking about the life he knows. Everything is surging for him. He came in as president, a rich man. He's going to leave as president a I don't even know what you call it, 1,000 times richer than when he came in, just like every other politician has done. Now, the only thing that's improved for me right now is my silver price. Silver's at $94.76. That's a cool number, $94.76. And I bought most of my silver at around $13, and I've got a chunk of it hidden away. So, that's doing well. Other than that, nothing's doing well for me at all. I can't even move like I want to or need to because, hey, interest rates are sky high. And prices are so home prices are so overpriced. I can't move even though I desperately need to for a job, but I'll take such a financial hit that it's hard to justify. And so I'm not trying to be rude, but when you make sweeping statements like that, right when you're on the midterms, and the average American can tell you that ain't happening in my life, It just isn't. You can claim those over-the-top claims all you want to. You can lie to the Davos global elite if you want to. But you can't lie to me because I know what's in my bank account, and I know what my bills are. And I know I used to have health insurance, and now I don't because I can't afford it. And I know, and I can keep going. But I'm telling you, you gaslight everybody like that come midterms, and you're going to guarantee your loss. James?
Well, this is 100% true. As much as issues like immigration and foreign policy and all these things are important, at the end of the day, and you cannot fault people for this, at the end of the day, people are going to vote for what makes their life better and gives them a better opportunity and chance to provide for their family.
Or what they think will do that, right?
What they think, and that's the economy. And the Democrats would probably be far worse. I mean, you look at what they're doing in Virginia right now, far, far, far worse. But what we have had these last few years is not good. Your dollar does not buy more today than it did when Trump first went into office in 2017. Not even close. The dollar, the power of the dollar. I mean, again, we're talking about fast food,
and you can't
real
just
estate.
Blame that on Joe, right?
Well, I mean, you can't blame it all on Trump either. I mean, it's just the nature of world economics, I guess. But, I mean, for him to say all of this.
How long did Joe have? 4 years, right?
Yeah, he had 4 years. Trump's had 5.
Yeah, so Trump's had more than Donald.
Yeah, I mean,
Trump's had more than Biden. Sorry, Biden.
No, I get all that. I get all that, and some of it, any president can't cure. I mean, everybody thinks a president can just cure all of these things. Some of them are systemic. Some of them are it's a global thing.
No, I don't think he can cure them all, and I think it's wrong for us to blame all the economy on one man. I think that's unfair and dishonest. But I also think it's unfair and dishonest what he's claiming right now. It's just flat out not the truth.
Well, and that's the purpose of the conversation we're having this segment was, react to what he just said. What he just said is true for his class of people. It is not true for the vast majority of Americans. That's the bottom line.
And it's not true for MAGA. It's not true for his voter base. The 70, 80 plus million Americans that voted for him. It's not true for most of them. And so in my mind, at least be truthful. If you want to say, hey, gas prices are looking a little bit better, egg prices are better, inflation's starting to be tamed, we're getting it under control, be patient. I get that and support that 1,000% because I think it's true. I'm not here to down President Trump, and I'm not here to attack him. But what I am here to do is say, if you want to position yourself for the midterms, it starts with being truthful and candid. It starts with leveling with the American people. It starts with doing things that give me a chance to feel like things are improving. And the best thing you can do is not create greater inflation. Don't hand me $2,000 because when you do, you hand everybody $2,000 and you hand the Greenlanders $100,000 and you print. You're just going to make inflation worse. You can't prevent it if you keep printing. You can't. And that's a fundamental economic reality that you cannot argue against. Although James will try when he gets back. How's that?
I got a comment for you that hasn't gotten a lot of play. It's incredible to hear an American president say this. I've never heard anything like it. That's the teaser.
All right.
I've never heard
anything
anything
come back,
like this.
That's the teaser. When we come back to, we're going to talk about Trump's, what do they call this thing? Board of Peace. We heard they wanted to get rid of the United Nations and we clapped. And now we're not clapping. Hang tight. All right, James, you got a presidential statement no one's ever even come close to saying, huh?
That's what I think here, Sam. So again, I think Trump says outlandish things sometimes to scare people, to scare his opponents or whoever he's negotiating with, so that when they actually settle, he gets what he wants, and it's not nearly as bad as what they may have been anticipating. But so again, listen to this statement. You were talking about the Board of Peace. This is a letter to Prime Minister Jonas Storr, and this is he's the Prime Minister of Denmark, which is, of course, Greenland is a territory of Denmark. This is what the president said. Dear Jonas, and this was January 19th, a couple of days ago. Dear Jonas, considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars, I no longer feel an obligation to think of purely peace, although it will always be predominant, but can now think about what is good and proper for the United States of America. Denmark cannot protect that land from Russia or China. And why do they have a right of ownership anyway? There are no written documents. It's only that a boat landed there hundreds of years ago, but we had boats landing there also. I have done more for NATO than any other person since its founding, and now NATO should do something for the United States. The world is not secure unless we have complete and total control of Greenland. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, I mean, basically just talking to the Prime Minister of Denmark saying, we're going to come take Greenland. It's just... Well, I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily unprecedented, but it's certainly unprecedented for modern diplomatic relations from
Do you support it,
from here.
Do you support just taking Greenland by force?
Well, I mean, this gets back to what if it was in the best interest of the United States,
Do you support taking Greenland by force?
I'm not for or against it in any sort of fundamental capacity. I mean, but the United States taking things by force has been done throughout its history. So I don't have any moral qualms with it if it is in the best interest, and I haven't really considered it far enough ahead to it actually occurring to spend time debating in my mind whether or not it's a good or a bad thing for the United States. But I mean, as far as is it immoral? Is it wrong? No. I mean, that's the way the history of the world's been written. But it is new. I mean, we haven't seen this kind of talk
the way the
in a long
history of the
time.
world's been written, but it's also wrong, though. Because you don't have the right to steal the sovereignty of another country, right?
I mean,
you could say they're a territory or whatever else. Are we going to make Greenland the 51st state, or are they going to just become a territory like Puerto Rico is?
It better be a territory, because here's the political thing about it.
They
this is one thing.
Somebody
surely,
better than Bad Bunny, then, for crying out loud.
This is one thing, and surely I can't be the only person in the administration that has considered this. But if politically speaking, if Trump really goes in and does any of this, if it isn't just all bluster for some negotiating purpose that we don't understand, if he really goes into places like Greenland or Cuba or Colombia or any of these other places and either annexes them or acquires them, even if it's only Greenland, which is a European nation, which is more fundamentally, aligned with us than these third world non-white nations are, Greenland would produce a guaranteed 2 more Democratic senators, and however many congressmen they would get, those would also be Democrats. So politically speaking, this would be doom for the Republican Party to annex any of these territories. They are all going to be left wing. So I mean, again, even if you pay them $100,000,
right wing.
I don't know about that. I mean, I was just about to say that. Unless the $100,000
instead of $100,000, I want $250,000, and I'll be a Republican for my life. What do you think, James? See, the whole thing is just unacceptable, unprecedented. Now, President Trump says he wants to get rid of the United Nations, and I applauded that. But now Trump is redefining the power of the presidency to really become kind of the leader of the world. So Trump's, quote, Board of Peace, launched as a global peace body. I thought he was for America first, but now he wants to lead a global peace body. But it raises questions over authority, control, and funding. It's supported by the United Nations Security Council Resolution 2803. They say which authorizes an international body to help with the administration of reconstruction and economic recovery in Gaza after the long conflict there. So now we want a nation built in Gaza. We want to take over Greenland. We want to ditch the United Nations and replace it with this, quote, Board of Peace. The charter proposal is asking countries to put in $1 billion. And if so, you can be a permanent member. If you don't put in $1 billion, then you'll be just a, whatever member. Now, I kind of a disposable member. You can become a member temporarily, and then you'll have to leave and all this kind of stuff. But Donald Trump would basically he'd be the sitting leader, and he would basically have that basically for life. And, you look at all this and you go, huh, America first? I don't think so. This guy's been gone gallivanting around the globe. He hasn't done a whole lot domestically except protect the border, and Tom Holman's been doing that single-handedly for the most part. And then, and everything I look at is just an international play for more and more power for Donald, and I'm getting less comfortable with it by the day. And I don't mean to attack the president of the United States. He's done a lot of good. But now what you have is you've got Netanyahu going, yeah, I'll pay $1 billion to be a charter member of that thing. Absolutely, Donald, I'm for peace. And you go, are you being gaslighted again, James?
Well, I mean, again, get out of the United Nations, get out of NATO, all of these things.
No, we're not doing that.
We're
remaking the United Nations Trump style. That's all we're doing.
Yes, we wanted to get out of these entangling alliances, but now we're just going to reform it. I mean, obviously, I don't think this is going to go anywhere. I don't think anybody's going to want to be a part of that. I mean, there are.
Oh yeah, man. Netanyahu already said he's ready to pay $1 billion. Countries are jumping on.
Netanyahu will be in it. Yeah, but there's no doubt. I mean, he's probably the one running it through the United States.
Netanyahu wants to rebuild Gaza. Think about that.
Well,
I mean, this is just insane. So that's what I mean is, why are we over there at Davos entertaining these global elite thugs that have hated America for decades, that have undermined America for decades? The organization under Klaus Schwab was a big old fraud, and he left under all kinds of scandalous circumstances. It got taken over by, what's this other guy's name? The BlackRock leader, Larry Fink of BlackRock. This guy now, okay, I'm just telling you, I'm more uncomfortable the more I hear. We're really creating global governance under the guise of America first, James.
Yes, and I mean, it is, I don't want to say a tricky situation. It's not that tricky. You don't want to have permanent entangling alliances. That goes back to George Washington's foreign policy, and the world has changed since the 1700s, I understand. It's you can travel and do things and wage war in ways that they could have never envisioned back then. And so I understand that the things have changed, but fundamentally speaking, that's still pretty good advice. Now, I consider all of the European nations to be our cousins. We are all of one people. America is an extension of Europe. It is an extension of the European people from its founding still through to this day. And I'm all for having, supporting other European nations first, and at least in terms of, a shared goodwill.
Donald's created a big rift with most of the European nations now. We're on opposite sides.
Well, but too bad. Yeah, but I mean, most of the European nations are led by people who, like America. I'm not saying in Trump's America necessarily, because I do believe he's probably a little bit more pro-American than the other side. But I mean, you have most people in Europe that is not looking after Europe's interests. So all of the people in Europe, these heads of states that are allowing their nations to be just completely inundated with Muslims and all of this stuff. There's rape and murder on the streets in Germany and Belgium, all throughout Europe. Sweden,
yeah,
you
that's
name it.
Coming to America, baby, people, right to a theater near you. They just 100%. Took over a church, man.
Yeah, I mean, what's going on in Minnesota is exactly that's Europe basically, and it is coming
on
here.
In Washington State too. I was just there talking to protesters.
Absolutely, and so again, just because you got a government in these European nations, don't mean that they're necessarily looking after the interest of their people, and so. But I mean, fundamentally, theoretically, I am in favor of helping Europe, but without having these entangling globalist alliances with heads of states who are promoting globalism and not nationalism in their respective ports of call. So, yeah, we don't need another thing like this. I'm all for getting rid of NATO. You can get rid of NATO and still have goodwill towards all of the nations and be helpful to them without all of this.
Is Donald trying to get rid of NATO? Because I haven't heard if he has.
No. Well, I mean, and he'll drop a line here and there about getting out of the United Nations and things like that, but I mean, no. I mean, if he did, why wouldn't he just refuse to participate? And not go over to places like this? I wonder what these people say.
He can't even get rid of the education department, James.
Yeah, remember Linda McMahon? Her job was to put herself out of a job. Well, I mean, and there is some truth to that, Sam. I mean, I will say this, and not in the capacity of devil's advocate. He is only the president. Congress is a problem. These judges are a problem. That's why he can do more things abroad, like sacking Venezuela than here because he doesn't have judges down there. They're going to stop him.
All right, there you have it. The truth is told right here, baby. Hour one of the can, hour two coming up, man. I want to talk about streaming. Streaming services are getting huge. I'll tell you all about it, ladies and gentlemen. Your old traditional TV, as long as they try to hang on, they're going to get swept under the rug. We'll tell you about it. I'm Sam Bushman.
Can't wait for that.
James Edwards is with me. ThePoliticalCesspool.org is his website. He wrote a book called Racism, Schmacism, and boy, does it need an update. I'll tell you what, with what's going on now, it is crazy town. James Edwards, you can listen to his program anytime you like. ThePoliticalCesspool.org. I'm Sam Bushman. LovingLiberty.net. God save our republic.